Bryan, nice to see you in Barcelona again. How many years have you been attending?
Geez, I don't know. Outside of the pandemic, of course, it's been a long stretch. Yeah.
18 years for me, so it's a long time.
Yeah, good show.
Good show indeed. So there's a lot to discuss, but let's focus on robotics. It's one of the areas we are here at Qualcomm's booth.
Yeah.
So tell me what's going on in this space and what is the opportunity. We saw an announcement with a robophone yesterday from Honor. What's the story around this category?
Yeah, so actually it's interesting you mentioned how long MWC has been around, because if you think about like the trends that have come and gone, you look at like VR many years ago, every booth had to have a VR headset, right? This year, what do you see all around? Everybody's got a robot. Humanoid robots.
I'm trying to count how many humanoid robots are around.
Totally. So robots are the hot thing. Now, of course, there's valid use cases. It can be industrial. It could be consumer. I'm not completely sold on that yet, but maybe we'll eventually get there. But even like you mentioned earlier, the other day, Honor launched this robot phone with a little gimbal that pops up.
What do you make of it?
It's kind of, well, okay. It shows off their engineering prowess. If you think about where Honor came from, basically with a lot of that Huawei R&D, it shows their ability to engineer and really drive interesting things. But the actual use case and the commercialization of that product,
it's a bit gimmicky. But even if it's just for marketing awareness and brand awareness,
that's the point.
I think it shows a very strong story, because at the end of the day, a challenger brand like Honor, they really need to show something differentiated.
Yeah.
And they need to differentiate from Apple and Samsung, and that's what they are trying to do, is to bring something unique to the market.
And if anything, conventions like this are where people they can jump on a pedestal and say, look at how good I am, right? Yeah.
And what about other categories, about wearables? We just came from a briefing with Qualcomm. They were talking about all the XR. So what are the key trends there?
So Qualcomm likes to talk about this concept of personal AI, right? So meaning you've got all these sorts of devices, whether it's glasses, earbuds, phones, PC, all of that feeding in to basically help your AI experience. And really this is where, again, all the silicon goes into all these sorts of devices as well too, right? So the propagation of many new types of devices is of course a hot topic. Whether that's going to be a pendant, again, I'm not completely convinced about that either, but there's this idea of where all of this can go.
Right? At the end of the day, if we are going towards a world where apps, it's not what you're going to see visible as the way of interacting. AI needs to be available everywhere in all sorts of devices. Sometimes we pick the phone, some other times we pick the tablet, some other times we pick a pendant, some other times we just talk in the car, etc.
Yeah, but I also think too that a lot of what people are looking for, and especially driven by sci-fi movies, right? It's everybody wants that hands-free experience and that assistant that's just always there and beckon on call, bam, I can call Jarvis or whatever it is and help me out and do this kind of thing. So that's why I think, to your point on wearables, right? It's that hands-free experience. We're too used to just scrolling on a phone, and it can be a different experience that way, a better experience.
And another important topic that is part of every single discussion is the memory shortage. So tell me about the impact that you see, particularly in Asia, because it's going to impact mainly Chinese brands in the smartphone, in the PC. So how you are seeing this? Is there any light at the end of the tunnel anytime soon?
Not anytime soon, because the capacity is still going to take time to come up. And the demand on the data center side is just so big that we're not seeing that alleviating anytime soon, right? So it is going to be tight for devices. As you pointed out, certain vendors will have an advantage over others. There are large vendors like Lenovo and Dell who can do quite well, or an Apple and Samsung. But the smaller vendors, that's where they're going to be challenged because they don't have as much leverage and scale. Or, as you pointed out, Chinese phone vendors play on the lower end of the market. At least some of them do. And so at that lower end, you're selling a $200, $150 phone, it's tough to make a margin off of that.
Yeah, that will be very challenging. Other topics that you see at MWC? Cars, there was this hypercar from Xiaomi.
It's getting a lot of attention at the booth over there. Yeah. Now, cars are here, but I think, back to that earlier point about a convention being a platform with which one to, shout to the world, look at how great all these products are. I think we still see a lot of concepts, right? Lenovo had a number of concepts. They had like this folding gaming handheld. They had this modular PC. Some interesting stuff, but again, not ready to be commercialized just yet.
It's going to take time. Excellent show. What are the number one one thing that you would really like to see that we are probably not seeing?
I don't know. I'm waiting for my Jarvis glasses that are going to be cheap and have long-lasting battery and won't be too heavy.
Okay, excellent. Enjoy the show.
Definitely. Thanks for
Thank
this
you.
show. Yeah.
Thank you.